Right, Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. The first book slash movie, terrible movie, slash season 1 of the Percy Jackson and the Olympians series. All of which I've actually watched and read. Yes, I've actually watched the series, watched the movie and read the book, unlike the Harry Potter thing, where I've only watched the movies. So, yeah, Percy Jackson is basically the demigod. He's the son of Poseidon, which is sort of like, what? And basically, to begin, he doesn't know he's the son of Poseidon. He just lives a sort of normal life where he sort of knows he's a bit mental and there's something, everyone thinks there's something wrong with him because gets expelled from like 6 schools in 6 years or something along the lines of that, something stupid like that. Constantly gets picked on and stuff like that. He's got dyslexia as well, where he gets like words muddled up and stuff, and words like start flying around the page and stuff like that. He's named after Perseus in ancient, in Greek mythology, which his mom named him, which you find out in the second book, which his mom named him after Perseus, who saved, I don't know who it was, someone off the Princess Andromeda ship. Well, not off that ship, but it's the woman that Perseus saved off the front of that ship. Either way, that's in the second fucking book anyway. I mean, basically, he's Percy Jackson. His mom, his daddy's Poseidon, and he doesn't know that yet. Getting on with it a bit, there's this kid called Grover, which he thinks is a bit weird. He doesn't walk properly, and it turns out he's this thing called a satyr, which is basically this, like, weird fucking... What the hell is it called? This weird, like, thing. He's got... Honest to God. Just getting on with it a bit. Turns out he isn't human. And then his stepdad's a bit of a dick. Always out playing poker and that. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? Playing poker. He stinks. His mum's out. His mum comes back. Percy hates him. And then they basically fuck off to this place. I think it was Santa Monica or something like that. His mum and that. Where, well, before that, I've skipped ahead a bit. There's this guy called Chiron, which basically turns out later is the activities camp director, or trains heroes basically at Camp Half-Blood, which we turn out later is this safe place for demigods. There's also... He's also the Latin or the Greek history teacher or something at the school. And Grover is basically... he helps Percy survive so he doesn't die to these things called, like... What the hell are they called now? Basically these things that want to kill him because they think, they're hunting down demigods. Monsters hunt demigods. There's monsters about the place. They hunt demigods. And all that shit. Didn't realise how long all this would take to explain. We're already nearly 3.5 minutes in. Just keep remembering certain things. Either way, skipping ahead a bit. Basically, he pulls out. He gets attacked by a monster. Pulls out a sword out of nowhere from a pen, which Chiron gave him, which is called Riptide, Ankylosmos in ancient Greek. If you want the fucking ancient Greek bit. And then kills the monster somehow, which was one of his teachers, which had been like thinking, he's sort of thinking, what the fuck is going on here? And then, as I said before, we get back to the bit where his mum and him go down to the place near the beach or whatever it is, and then they start driving because Grover shows up, and you're like, what the fuck is he doing here? And then they start getting attacked by more and more monsters. They're sort of like, what the fuck is going on? Skipping out a bit again, a Minotaur attacks when they're on the sort of like border of Camp Half-Blood, which his mom can't go into because she's mortal and only like demigods and that, and Grovers, satyrs and that can go in and all that. And his mom gets killed by the Minotaur, so like Percy Jackson goes Omega mode and sort of just kills the Minotaur, takes its horn as like a fucking memento. And I just realised we've only covered like the first episode of the series in the first like few 5 whatever chapters of the book, so we need to skip ahead of this. We're already nearly 5 minutes in. Either way, basically then there's like these 12 houses which like each represented by like the sons, daughters and that, children of the gods. Zeus, Poseidon and Hades. they actually have no demigod sons, daughters, children, except from Percy Jackson, who's the son of Poseidon. Because after World War II, they all decided to stop having children because it causes, too many problems and that, basically. But Poseidon went behind, the backs and that and just had Percy anyway. And he wasn't claimed until they did this game. I can't remember the name of the game. But unclaimed children go into Hermes' house, which means there's about 20 fucking million people in Hermes' house because he's welcoming. And there we meet Luke, which turns out later he's a bit of a dick. But we'll get into that later. He's the son of Hermes, obviously. He's actually son of Hermes. He's not unclaimed. And then he gets claimed. Percy Jackson gets claimed by Poseidon because he did something. He broke Clarice's spear. Clarice is like this, sort of like the anti-hero, sort of like your rival character. Daughter of Ares, blah, 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 blah. Breaks the sort of spear thing in half that she's got. And Poseidon claims him. You got Annabeth Chase as well, which is the sort of, what the hell? Whose daughter is she again? She's the daughter of Athena. You had the whole Thalia thing, which it turns out there was a daughter of Zeus and she got turned into a tree. I did not realise how long this would take to explain, by the way. We're nearly I've said this just, but we're nearly 7 minutes in. It's going to go on for 20 minutes at this point. Again, effectively skipping ahead, he's basically, turns out, I can't go for everything, but Chiron basically, and Percy Jackson learns that he basically Zeus thinks he stole the Master Bolt because of the summer solstice or the winter solstice or something. His bolt was stolen, as well as we find out later Hades' helm thing, the Helm of Darkness thing. It turns out he hasn't done it, spoiler alert. But he thinks, what the fuck, they think he has done because Poseidon he's the son of Poseidon and Zeus is like, yeah. And Poseidon wants to start a war or something. They think Poseidon wants to start a war with Zeus or something. So either way, they are offered a quest. Percy's offered a quest to basically go and save the world and stop this all-out war going on, to go to Hades, which they think has actually stolen the Master Bolt, to give it back to Zeus because they think Hades wants to start a war for some reason against Zeus. And yeah, getting on with it a bit, they go on a quest, everything sort of goes tits up, you go on the miscellaneous adventures, Percy Jackson learns, what the fuck is this, all this shit, lots of Greek sort of stuff going on. Grover goes as well, because you have to pick 2 people to go along with him. He gets a thing from the Oracle saying you'll fail to save what matters most in the end, and a bunch of other stuff which is important later, which I can't actually remember the entire thing of what it was, but either way, he gets that. And then at the end of the day, they just go through a bunch of shit, a bunch of tasks. They meet Ares, which is a bit of a dick, and turns out he's sort of being manipulated by Kronos. Sorry for the spoiler. Kronos, which is in the bottom of Tantalus, split up into about 1 million pieces by Zeus from beforehand, but he's still somehow manipulating not only Percy Jackson, Ares, and Luke. But again, as you say, Ares sort of sends them on a bit of a thing to get this thing in this, what is it called, in this amusement park, which Hesphaestus, or if he say his name, created as a bit of a trap for him and Aphrodite. Ares, that is, not Percy Jackson. And Aphrodite to be caught in it, but then Annabeth and Percy Jackson are caught in the sort of trap instead. And it's showcased on this TV screen. We have skipped past a lot of stuff, but as I said, it's and then, yeah, basically, they get out of it. We'll go back to this bit. They basically kill Medusa, mail Medusa's head to Olympus, which gets returned back to Percy's house at the end, but we'll get back to that in a minute. That was way before that, by the way. I just went back to that bit just because I've remembered it then. Percy Jackson, and then basically they end up in the underworld. basically. Go over the River Styx and all that shit. Find out that Cerebus, the three-headed dog, just wants to be played with, which I think was, honest to God, better in the series rather than the books. I mean, it's a bit like, weird in the books. So it needed to be changed for the series, put it that way. Very different chapter in the books compared to what happened in the series. Either way. And then they eventually get to Hades. Hades sort of tells them, "What the fuck are you talking about? I don't care about the Master Ball. You've sort of like stolen my helmet thing." And it turns out, before this, by the way, there was almost pulled. Grover was almost pulled into Tantalus because he had these like flying shoes that Luke gave Percy Jackson to wear, but he gave them to Grover instead. And they were meant to pull Percy Jackson, obviously, but they was pulling Grover instead because he was wearing them, not Percy Jackson, into the Tantalus, because the Master Ball randomly appeared in the back of his bag, which was going to be pulled into Tantalus so Kronos can get it or something like that. Either way, Hades tells him, what are you talking about? And then he has the Master Bolt. They have to go back. It turns out Percy's mom is alive. They say they'll get the helm back to Hades. They use these things given to Percy to escape by this, like, I don't know if it's called a naiad or that it might be the wrong thing. When he was under the water. And then they go to the Empire State Building after that. Percy Jackson basically goes alone to Olympus to talk to Zeus. Talks to Zeus. Poseidon's also there as well. Not in the series. He appears at the last second to save Percy before Zeus actually strikes him down dead in the series, which I thought was better again than the books, to be honest. But either way, Zeus is there, talks to Zeus, says, here's your Master Ball, I didn't steal it. Turns out Kronos is returning, but they just sort of like, shut that bit down because they're all shit scared of him or something, of his return or something like that. And then what happens after that is, well, basically that's sort of the end. Poseidon has a bit of a chat with Percy. Zeus's Master Ball is returned. Hades' helm is returned to him. Oh, yay. It's done. That's it. Woohoo. Oh, yeah, before this as well, Ares and Percy Jackson have a bit of a scrap. Ares and Percy Jackson have a bit of a scrap as well, because they find out, obviously, that Ares used him and that, because he was being used by Kronos, but which Percy Jackson wins. And then they return to Camp Half-Blood. Percy Jackson is like, yay, we did it. Look, we succeeded in the quest. We've saved the whole world. And then, Luke... It sort of turns out that Luke is a dick. He sort of reveals, some along the lines of a scorpion. Some scorpion to thingy Percy Jackson stabs him and he starts bleeding or something like that along those lines, dying. And turns out Luke is working alongside Kronos and wants to strike down the entirety of Olympus, and he was the one that stole the Master Ball in the first place. And he leaves. Percy Jackson somehow survives due to this nectar thing, the drink thing that they have. And that is the end of book 1. A bit of a drag for the mid part of it. I mean, the ending was good, the start was good, that interesting book and series, but a bit of a drag for the middle part of it. And yeah, this went on for absolutely ages, this did, to be fair. Dragging on. So I'm just going to wrap up this video because it's already too long. I did not expect this to take this long. Probably because I actually had to explain a lot of shit rather than just saying nothing. Either way, and I've skipped over half the stuff that happens. So this honestly could go on for half an hour if I was doing it all. Either way, Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, decent enough, good book, good series. Watch the series, read the books. But yeah, next Sea of Monsters. I don't know when I'm going to do that, but yeah.